Today, I want to share 2 effective practice tips. Oftentimes, it's not our true technical ability that gets in the way of our progress. It's poor practice habits. Practicing is a lifelong topic, but let's talk about 2 really important things that will improve your practicing today. I first want to talk about action versus thinking. Let's say you're learning a piece and in your practice you make a mistake. Now, I see a lot of pianists quickly just try it again, and then again, and again, and again, and they get frustrated when they keep making that same mistake over and over. So the thing that's missing here is an analysis. So when you make a mistake, stop and ask yourself if it was due to an incorrect thought or was it a physical, technical mistake. A mistake caused by thinking has to do with things like misreading a note or not seeing a crescendo mark in your score, or maybe a fingering needs to be changed. In other words, we're not thinking of the right thing, or we're not thinking far enough ahead. In this case, we need to stop and get the thought right before we try again. So that might look like writing in the correct fingering, circling the crescendo mark, or writing in the note name. That's why professional pianist scores often are marked up like crazy. And then once you have identified the incorrect or insufficient thought, you can practice thinking the thought as you play up to that spot. For example, let's say I'm practicing simple gifts from this Faber book, and in measure 4 here, I played middle C instead of the B below. Rather than immediately and rather thoughtlessly trying again, I stop, I analyze what went wrong, and I decide that it was basically a lack of thought. Here I am in my C position, and my right thumb needs to slide down to play the beat. Physically, that's not a difficult thing for me to do, so I know it's all about mental preparation. Simply being ready to move my thumb and knowing that it's coming up. To help myself, I can circle the actual note, or I could write in a note a measure beforehand that says move down, or I could circle the note that's already in the score. Now, I'll start from the pickup to measure 3 and actually practice mentally remembering that I have to move my thumb down to B. So that's an example of a thinking mistake and how to correct it. An action mistake is a physical movement that didn't go quite as you expected. So these action mistakes often happen when we have a piece pretty well learned and you're just polishing it, trying to get it as perfect as possible. Action mistakes can be due to a lack of preparation for the movement or the actual execution. So as an example, check out this piece from the Faber book again, The Entertainer. So let's say that I've learned all the notes and rhythms really well, and so when I play and botch a note right away, I stop and think, okay, what went wrong? Mentally, I know exactly what note is written, and I've played it correctly many, many times. So it's probably an action mistake and just a faulty execution. So for practice, I might go from the beginning, and once I play the E, I'll practice quickly extending my pinky up to the C and then pause there. You can see that I'm practicing that exact execution, making sure that physically my hand knows what that leap feels like. Now, don't get too stressed out about deciding whether a mistake is because of a thought or an action. Sometimes they intersect. The key is to really just stop and think. What happened? Why did it happen? What can I do to help myself? And how can I fix it? So you need to be a problem solver. So stop, analyze, fix. The second practice tip I want to address is what I call the practice scale. You probably already understand the power and necessity of repetition in your practice, especially in small sections. To take that a step further, Let's pretend we have an old-fashioned scale. And as we practice this tricky section, every time we play it correctly, we'll put an imaginary 1 pound weight on this side. And every time we play it incorrectly, we'll put a 1 pound weight on this side. So here's what I see way too often. The pianist will play the section through and 5 times it comes out incorrect. So we have 5 pounds on this side. And then finally they play it correctly once. So they get 1 pound on this side. And they're like, great, it's fixed. I'm going to move on. When in reality, we have this huge imbalance. And what do you think is likely to happen the next time they play that section? Chances are they'll play it incorrectly because we have 5 pounds on the incorrect side and we only have 1 pound on the correct side. So practice makes permanent. So remember that you always want more correct playthroughs than incorrect. If you want more practice suggestions, check out this video on 9 ways to polish a piece and then get practicing.